Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's vOLTHA TST call. As usual, the call is recorded and will be shared on YouTube, so please be mindful of whatever you share during the call. Thanks for joining. First up, as the order of business, we don't have a long agenda today, but it's a very important topic from Hardik. So first of all, I want to say just we moved, there was last week's discussion on the roadmap that I moved to its own specific document where we can more easily keep track of it. Actually struck off something that's already been done. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to add them here so we can have that as its own unique discussion for the 2.5 roadmap. Is there any comment on the roadmap that was not addressed last week, given the maybe some people were not present? No? Okay. Then if not, next up, we have a very important topic from Hardik, which is the start of a longer discussion that will be addressed in also future meetings, where we talk about security and authentication within vOLTHA and to vOLTHA. In particular, today, we want to talk about one of the outwards facing interfaces directly to the box, so between the adapter and the agent, the OpenOLT adapter and the OpenOLT agent. So Hardik, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Andrea. Hi, everyone. Hope I'm well audible.
Yes, perfectly fine.
Yeah. So this work item comes as one of the requirements from DT for vOLTHA 2.5, and I think this will be benefited to everyone in the community in general, and or any other operator can also use it. So at the moment, the connection, the communication between the OLT adapter and the OLT agent is not a secured connection. It is just a plain gRPC text. So going forward, the requirement is to encrypt this communication, since we know that, okay, OLTs can be sitting not in the same location, but they can be a far location. So we really don't want the communication between the vOLTHA and the actual OLT to be prone to any man-in-the-middle attack or anything like that. So security is a major concern, and this is what we are trying to address here. So yeah. So in general, gRPC has the SSL and TLS integration, and we can really use that to authenticate the server and encrypt all the data exchange that is exchanged between the client and the server. So yeah, you can see these two pieces of codes as what Andrea shared, which actually shows at the moment that the connection that is getting established is with insecure flag. So going forward, the proposal is to support secured communication, but with an option provided in the startup config, whether you want to bring up the system with the secure connection or without the secure connection. So that kind of support we are planning to give. So now for the secure communication, the secure SSL, what is basically required is the exchange of the certificates. So I think that is where we really want the suggestions from the community, how we should really share them between the server and the client. So server here being the OpenOLT agent, and the client, the vOLTHA OLT adapter. So now basically there can be two types of certs. One is the cert that is given by the device itself, or more like you can say a self-signed certificate, which will be shared and stored in some vOLTHA repository. And the client will use that server certificate, which is already present with it, to validate the server once it gets authentication with the server. The other could be having a CA certificate. It could be from some common public domain to start with, as this is an open community project. But later, maybe we can support more like a private one, as suggested by DT also. In that case, we'll have a common CA certificate installed or present on both the agent, say the box, and the vOLTHA. And the runtime, a certificate will be generated using that CA, and that will be shared with the client, and then client authenticates the server.
So isn't each deployment likely to have their own set of secure certificates? So it's not going to be a global vOLTHA secure certificate. It's going to be DT's generated certs for their deployment. TT has generated a different set of certs for their deployment.
Yes, I think that's the plan. As I can remember what the discussion that we had with the DT. But I think to start with, we can go with the public certificates. I don't know if we really support the OS-based certificates in our scenarios, but
yeah,
but otherwise,
I guess
yeah.
Yeah, my question is, why aren't we handling this a little bit like SSH, where you can, on the command line to these various tools, or with Kubernetes, specify the secrets which hold the certificates. So this isn't, they're not in our repository. It's not in our KV store. It's look here, yeah. Pass it as a Kubernetes secret, and we'll use those.
Or
that way.
Yeah. So the thing we were doing in XOS for SIBA for the certificates was to mount a certificate in all the containers. So the certificate could be generated in any way and just mounted in all the pieces that needed it.
Mounting becomes an issue in a Kubernetes environment, though, unless you're starting to do NFS mounts everywhere, because we have to have a distributed file system so everybody can see it. I think secrets essentially they show off as mount points in the container.
Yeah. We were actually using a config map, but I think a secret would be much better. I didn't mean to mount a shared file system, just mount that particular file.
But the agent running on the box is not under the purview of Kubernetes. So how would that work?
Wouldn't you just install a file then?
Okay.
You install the certificates and point the binary at the certificates. The agent's just a process, correct?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can see potentially you might even want each OLT to have its own cert if you really want to make sure no traffic from one OLT goes to a different OLT. Is that ever going to be the case?
You said traffic to one OLT goes to another OLT?
Well, do you want traffic between the adapter and an individual OLT agent to be encrypted specifically for that agent, or do we expect all agents to have the same encryption?
I have no clue what's the requirement.
Because if we expect each OLT to have its own cert, it just becomes, well, it just means we have to associate a cert with each OLT. And so when we communicate to that OLT to make sure we encrypt it with the right information.
Hardik, do you know if one cert per OLT is the requirement of Deutsche Telekom, or is it fine having one certificate for all of the connections between any OpenOLT agent and any OpenOLT adapter?
That I'm not really very sure about at the moment. But I think going forward, they have a plan to use some secure secret storage. I think they use some HashiCorp Vault, which I'm not really aware of at the moment, how that works, to store all the certificates.
So maybe a certificate location could be the best way.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting if we have a certificate per OLT, just in terms of organizing that and keeping those relationships.
Yep. So I think that the option of using Kubernetes secrets is actually a very good one, at least in my opinion, but I'll leave the floor open to everybody.
Yeah, I just think that may have to be altered if we expect a per OLT certificate. I mean, if I have 1,000 OLTs, am I going to add 1,000 secrets? And how do I dynamically add a secret?
Should we clarify that requirements with Deutsche Telekom and all the other telcos?
As of now, right? I guess
So
the
are we
deployment
planning like for each OLT will have its
Ken, are you still talking? We seem
No,
not to be.
the requirement is like, do we want? Are we going to support one certificate per deployment, or are we going to have a certificate per OLT?
I think that requirement is not clear yet from what I heard from Hardik.
Yeah, so we can ask the operators. But I think Girish Kumar was trying to say something.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was want to understand. So as of now, we are going to have one OLT being supported by one OLT adapter, right?
That is not a determination that we have made. I think the last time the TST talked, we said, let's look at the data. So when we are going, we'll go through this, what we call scale sizing matrix. Based on that data, we'll make a call.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it might be that one deployment supports a set of OLTs. So if we go one-to-one deployment to OLT, you would have to mount multiple secrets, one per OLT, as David was pointing out.
Okay.
So I think the next step is actually to clarify this, how if it's one per deployment or one per OLT. But thinking about it, you could, even if we scale up to like 10, 15 per deployment in a single pod, you could still mount 15 secrets. That's not such a big number, David. Is that a fair assessment?
You could. I don't know. Just it's a little bit more overhead in terms of management. But that may still be the way to go. More thought, more practice is going to have to be explored. I think the other issue is dynamically adding or changing secrets will have to be investigated, or dynamically adding, deleting, modifying.
Because that is once you mount a secret, that is mounted forever in Kubernetes with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do an apply and have it changed or not.
Can you take a look?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. So
Yep.
I think as action items, I'll take it to send an email out to the folks at the operators, and maybe Suraf, you can talk about it in the operator meeting and TST with operators meeting. You guys can talk about this requirement, and we can come up with answer to the question, and then whenever we know more about how you add, delete, and modify, we can probably choose that option. Would that work for everybody?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah, sorry, I think I was just trying to reach out to Hardik. He's having problem connecting, so. But I think we indicated. I think right. I think he probably doesn't have that information about it. What is a operator requirement?
Okay. Mahir, you also had a comment?
No, it's okay for me. I mean, it seems reasonable. Yeah, we can. I can ask to Türk Telekom for their requirements.
Yeah. Any input also would be from your side would be great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, the deployment is in a secure area in operator, so I guess it's not needed to have a certificate per OLT, but I'll ask to Türk Telekom. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so next up, I wanted to do a brief round of brief question to anybody if there is any Jira ticket that needs discussion within the TST. I don't have anything, but I know we used to do a Jira update once in a while, and I wanted to make sure that anything that might need discussion and addressing from the TST itself is actually taken care of. So does anybody have any burning questions or discussions that might need to be taken within the group? No? Then, okay. That concluded the items for today. I need to discuss about next week's meeting. I think we can postpone it because I know on the 25th of August there will probably be a demo from the Infosys team and Girish's team in particular about the EFK and logging, given the fact that they will have accomplished that result on the 25th. I don't think we have anything for next week at the moment, but Serve, any others?
Yeah, if something comes up, basically we'll have the meeting.
Yep. Okay.
Actually, there are two items actually for this demo. One is this EFK, right? Elastic Fluentd setup, which we are trying to actually complete the work on the OpenVoLTha agent ingestion. So I think logs from the OpenVoLTha agent also needs. We are trying to ingest that into EFK. That's a work should get completed this week. And then there's a log correlation and tracing related work, which also probably should get completed by then. There are just a couple of GS left in that. So we want to have a common demo, or because overall, I believe if we take it to a common demo, it would take up most of the time of this TST call. Probably it will need around 40 minutes, I would say. Is that okay, or you want to probably do it in two parts? Probably log EFK next week and the log correlation tracing the week after.
I think a common demo is fine, unless there's other issues. But as far as I know, there aren't anything right now. Isn't anything right now. So it's really up to you. If a common demo is easier for you, then we can do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Sure, yeah. We'll do a common demo then.
Okay. So that was all I had. Is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up to the team? No? Okay. Then I'll give everybody basically half an hour back of their day, and so we can get down to the 5 tasks. I'll usually, as usual, I'll publish the recording and make sure that I'll send it out on the mailing list too. So thanks everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.